What's up, beautiful family, and welcome back. You know those facepalm moments when you thinking, girl, if I could just go back and tell my 20-year-old self what I know now? Life has truly been my greatest teacher, y'all. Between juggling my clinical and professional duties, creating content, being a professor, wife, and mama. Woo, child. Each role has taught me something that I wish I knew 2 decades ago. And today we getting real, like really real. I'm spilling those 20 harsh truths that I really wish I knew by the age of 20. That I now know at 40. Think of this as your virtual big sister moment, your big cool sister, where I share those lessons that had me learning the hard way. But before we dive in, I need to hear from you, family. Drop in the comments and let us know one of those harsh truths that had you thinking, woo, I wish somebody had told me this earlier. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear here. And if you find yourself nodding along and getting to those aha moments, show your girl some love by hitting that like button. Join our family by subscribing. And don't forget to check out my LTK shop for all the goodies that help life be a little bit easier.
Drnina, the girl next door, beautiful brown baby doll.
Now let's get into these truths. And trust me, some of them gonna hit different. True friends are so rare. There is something to be said about acquaintances versus friends. And acquaintances can be people we work with, we live next to, people we go to church with, but they not necessarily our A-spoon cones. Everybody ain't your A-spoon cone. I'm sorry. What I learned early was that quality matters more than quantity. And that means so much now, being in my 40s. Life transitions truly reveal who stays. When I tell y'all different things that I went through, whether it was seeking my education, relationship breakups, or just getting older in general, when you go through different life changes, like even weddings, okay, or having children, all of those things will show you who's truly in your corner. Now, life happens, and sometimes people fall by the wayside, and I do believe there's a reason and a season for everyone in your life, but some of those people gonna stick there, baby. They gonna stick there, and not because they manipulating you. They really are about you. And these people celebrate you, and they don't try to compete with you. And they show up when everybody else might have excuses. I have friends in all developmental parts of life right now. Some are married, some are not, some are divorced, some have children, some don't. Some are professionals, some are hustlers, okay? And some are professional hustlers. But what I mean there is we all have different walks of life, but we have a lot of things still in common. And I know that those friends will tell me the truth and not just things I want to hear. And during my career transitions, I really saw this. The people that would be there for me through the hard times, who could take hearing those things, but I could also do that for them. It is a reciprocal relationship. And speaking of relationships that truly matter, a good relationship is going to take sacrifices. Both partners are to compromise equally. Okay, it ain't the man got more say, the woman ain't got no say. It ain't the opposite way either. And in that, you learn to choose your battles wisely. Someone told me, a mentor, the fights that you have right now are the fights you're going to have when you're married and beyond. And what that means is while it might get better, some things you learn to live with when it comes to a person, but does the good outweigh the bad? And there are healthy versus unhealthy sacrifices. You don't have to give up who you are, where you work, what you do, what you find as most appealing about you, the way you look, the way you operate in order to make someone else happy. There's someone that will accept you how you are and will love you how you are. And if it ain't, be by yourself and be fly. And the growth that you have during a relationship requires mutual support from both ends. Even when you become a parent, you need both. Communication can truly be and has to be a non-negotiable in a relationship because in order for it to work, you both have to be able to speak to one another. And small daily choices matter more than grand gestures. And I can tell you, even in my own marriage, my husband not only does big things, but he knows that it's the small stuff that counts to me. He's a big gift kind of guy, but he knows for me, just bringing me home a rose or a little piece of cake that I like or something like that, all of those things add up. It doesn't have to be the things that everybody sees you doing. It's the little things and the little moments that matter. But before you can build these relationships, shed people as you need to. Growth sometimes means outgrowing relationships. And I tell y'all all the time about the butterfly versus the caterpillar, and they both come from similar species, right? They come from each other. However, one is flying and one is walking on the ground. Doesn't make one better than the other, but one has progressed a level above that allows them to do different things and live from the experiences they had when they were below. And we have to remember in this, sometimes relationships can become toxic and they can drain your energy. It's okay to prioritize your peace. And let me free you, sis. Distance doesn't mean drama. Just because I ain't talking to you don't mean I don't like you. It might mean at this time in my life, I need some more peace. Your energy is precious and you have to protect it. And in that, realizing that some relationships will have an expiration date. I've had friendships that I've outgrown, and sometimes those relationships come back to be. There were times in my life where I was not as mature and I had to grow. And sometimes you come back together after that, but sometimes you don't. Now, this next truth is the hard one. Life is unfair. Y'all, this one hits different because we've all been there. The promotion you deserved but didn't get. The opportunity you thought was yours but went to someone less qualified. The moments when you're doing everything right but everything still goes wrong. I know that one. I remember feeling stuck in my career at one time. Yep, me, Dr. Nina. And I remember thinking to myself that I was putting and pouring myself into this and maybe it just wasn't for me. But what you got to realize is that sometimes life doesn't work out on your timeline, and most times it will not. We think we're in control, but we ain't. That feeling of being trapped between where you are and where you want to be, it's real. And speaking of navigating life's unfair moments, this video is sponsored by BetterHelp. You know what I've learned by the age of 40? Sometimes we need more than motivational quotes and just positive thinking. Sometimes we need a professional to help us process our feelings and also develop real strategies. BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. They have over 30,000 licensed therapists. They specialize in everything from career challenge to life transitions. And the best part, you can connect with them completely online. This makes therapy more comfortable and convenient. Whether you're feeling stuck in your career, overwhelmed by expectations versus reality, or just need someone to help you process life's unfair moments, BetterHelp therapists can help you with several things. Breaking down those vague feelings from feeling behind into those specific addressable concerns. Develop a timeline that feels authentic to you, not society's expectations. Create practical tools to measure your progress and process those feelings of inadequacy or comparison. Start fresh any day of the year with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/drnina and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Now, speaking of life's reality checks, let's talk about truth number 6. A wedding is for the day. A marriage is for life. Wedding planning and marriage building are two different things. They're only a part of the process, though. A lot of times people get to the end of that wedding and they're thinking, oh crap, what's happening now? Okay, that's only a piece of it, just to see how you get along, how you're able to plan things, because there's so much in life you have to plan together once you decide to join your life with someone else. That's why everybody doesn't have to or doesn't need to or doesn't want to get married. Long-term commitment to anything requires different skills. And when the fairy tale ends with any relationship, but especially with marriage, the real work begins. Daily choices that you choose to do or not do will build a lasting love. And it's about partnership and not perfection. You want to invest more in that marriage than you do in a wedding. And I know for us, me and my husband have been through several things, not man-made issues, because relationships already have a lot of difficulties, y'all, naturally in life. Sickness, loss of health, loss of jobs, family, other people. You're not the only two people living in the world. So dealing with all of those stressors can cause major stresses to a marriage. And you have to know how to navigate that, but also trust one another. And that's why it's important to consider the person you choose to marry. And I'm grateful for mine. Be able to lose your old self. Growth is going to require you leaving those comfort zones. You can't always be comfortable. Know this, your past self has already served its purpose. Let that settle in. Change is constant and necessary. And if you don't think this is true, look at the weather. It has to change. Even in the hottest of places, even in the coldest of places, there's slight change. Identity changes with our experiences. It evolves. It grows. You have to embrace new versions of you, because that means that you've stepped up and stepped through those situations that you've had in the past. They've grown you to get you to where you are now. I love Martin. I love In Living Color. I love all them shows from back in the day, but I can guarantee you, I don't have all the friends I had when I was watching all that. Things change. But while we're talking about long-term thinking, the internet keeps a lifetime archive, okay? Internet keeps the score, boo. I be looking back at my old posts. Some of them I side eye and some of them I make private. A digital footprint is forever, even when you think you took it down. So you want to think before you post. This can cause issues on your job, It can cause issues with you getting a job. It can cause you having problems with family, friends, other people. Just certain things don't have to be shared. And something else I want to tell you, just because you think you made that account private, it's not foolproof. You don't know who has access to that account, who's let someone else see it. And believe it or not, your posts do represent your personal brand, and that includes things that you choose to repost from other people. And I love how Facebook loves to put up old posts or tell you or remind you of an old post. Baby, I be holding my breath sometimes, okay? Now, I was pretty good about it, but some of them posts I knew was super petty, okay? Maybe other people didn't know, but I knew it, and some of them need to be private. But let's talk about what really lasts. Health is a main priority and not an aesthetic. Yes, we like to look good, boo. I love looking good. That's why I'm losing weight again, okay? But I also love absolutely my health. You can't buy it. Internal health will always trump external appearance, though it doesn't hurt to wake up and feel like you look good. Your mental health is also a non-negotiable and is just as big as that physical health. And prevention is much better than care. So exercising and meal prepping and taking good care of yourself now, keeping your stress levels down, is going to pay off in dividends later on. You might not see the immediate benefits, but I can guarantee you later on, it helps you out. I didn't deliver my baby until I was 40 years old. And I can tell you, even my healing process, according to my doctor, was much quicker. Okay. I've taken good care of myself, and that's something I will not shy away from. You want sustainable habits over quick fixes, not these quick diet fixes and other things. Of course, there's things that can work for you, but learn some long-term habits to help you out. Sleep is your superpower, and stress management is crucial. My health wake-up call thankfully came in my 20s. I lost over 100 pounds at 21 and kept it off. And even now, after having a baby and starting that process again, I'm not afraid of it because I've been there, done that. Though I'm at a different age and stage, I still am grateful that I learned that during those age groups and times. And speaking of what really matters, newsflash, nobody thinks about you more than you. Everybody is focused on their own journey, okay? Everybody. But the spotlight effect is real. We love to believe that everybody looking at us and considering us, honey. No. When you realize that you're the only person who thinks of yourself as highly or as much as you, and you change those thoughts, you can then get some freedom from other people's opinions. This is your life. Most people are too busy to judge you. And even though you think everybody looking at you, some of them is not judging you. Some of that is imagined. And remember this too. Your embarrassing moments that you had back in 5th grade and back in college, those aren't as memorable to other people. Those are imprints on your mind. Use this knowledge to be even more bold. And I can tell y'all, in my 20s, I was shameless. If you look back at some of my videos, baby, the makeup, just look back at the video. Actually, I'm gonna put it in here. The videos, honey. But I did not care what people thought about me. And boy, oh boy, I still don't. Who you thought I was, boo? But once you realize this, the grass always look greener somewhere else. Always. I want to remind y'all that social media is a highlight reel, and social media has really helped us in a lot of ways, but it's also harmed us because we sit there and we scroll through and we think that everybody's life is much better than ours. Everybody has struggles, every single one of us, but comparison steals joy. Appreciate your own journey. It's the only one like it. I don't care how rough it's been. Everything that goes down must come up. And everything that goes up must come down. Success looks different for all of us. So if you focus on your own growth and not just the highlights of other people's, you will feel more fulfillment in your life. And I remember even when I started my career, I had a lot of career comparison syndrome. You know, I started my career at the age of 27. I went to school for 10 years, okay? And I continued on. And I remember looking at other people being like, oh, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. And I was doing so much. And it wasn't until later on that a mentor told me how other people saw me and thought of me as an overachiever, positively so, but just someone that was able to powerhouse through everything and make anything happen. I didn't even realize it, but I had set my expectations so high because I was too busy comparing myself to everybody, okay? If you compare yourself to everybody and that only lasted for a little while because it's tiring, you will be an overachiever, right? Because you don't even understand what's reality and what's not and what's real for you. And once I got a hold of my true purpose, everything worked out better. Now, about those overnight successes, there's no shortcuts to successes. Consistent effort beats talent. Okay, it does. I'm Miss Perseverance of SS Endurance, LDB. in my sorority, okay? And I am one of those people who's just gonna keep on chugging along. Even if the train hits the track and it need to get back on, I'm gonna do it, baby, even if I'm falling over. Persistence is a must. What you got to remember is that small steps add up. I told y'all again, when I lost weight, I went into the gym for the first time and literally went. When I went to the gym for the first time, there was no working out. The joy was that I finally went. And these people that you think had overnight success, believe me, most of them have been working for years quietly. You want to learn from your failures and allow those to build strong foundations for you to have something to lean on. And you got to trust the process. You might be young now or even older. Still, you got a lot of life to live. Now, speaking of putting in the work, I need us to stop blaming other people. Take responsibility for the outcomes that you have. Even if you don't like those outcomes, they're still yours. And you played a part. My mother taught me that your response shapes your future. You know, I've always been one person to get through everything. I told y'all that. However, sometimes my response wasn't always the best. And that's something I've had to deal with in therapy. Okay? Therapy, life coaching, all of it. Because sometimes the way we respond to a hardship or even to something positive can affect the way we see the rest of our lives. It's that heavy. Turn those setbacks into comebacks, okay? Even if it doesn't work out. Learn from every experience, and I've learned to focus on solutions and not problems. And owning your part in a situation takes valor. Y'all, I can remember a time where I broke up from a relationship, and it was a decision that I made because I had made some other decisions before that had put me in a predicament that wasn't the healthiest. And I had to own up to that. I remember going into therapy and telling my therapist, look, I played a part in this. And while I don't like it, I also signed up for it. So a lot of times we like to blame other people for our shortcomings and downfalls. And while they play a role in the movie, you are the director and the producer. Now, once you master this, it's important to be the friend or the partner that you want. What I've learned in my life is that you have to lead by example in relationships. We have gone and grown as a society to think that people need to come in packages that know how to treat us. While people should treat you with respect and kindness, they won't know the specifics and the things that you like the most. But they will know by the way you treat yourself and other people. You have to know that you will attract what you embody. And that's why at some parts in your life, you attract some of the wrong people. And I'm not saying that to shame you. I'm saying that you might want to chill on looking out for other people to wholly complete you. You have to give what you hope to receive. Set a lot of standards through the actions that you take and create the energy that you want to see around you. And I've learned also to invest in others authentically. Even at this season in my life when I'm super busy, there are people in my life that I have to check on, that I take time to send gifts to, that I take time to send love to. But not only that, I'm also proving that I'm also treating myself well and my family well so that they also know the ways to respect us the best. People don't come prepackaged and ready to treat you how you want them to, but they will learn by the way that you show. But remember to control your reactions. Okay, I ain't say Billy Joe's and Cindy Lou's. I said yours. Emotions are normal, but reactions are a choice. I want you to think about that one, okay? Because I'm Petty McNally, okay? And I know I can be petty. I know it. I feel all the emotions, but then sometimes I react very pettily, and I have to check that. That's why it's important to pause before you respond in situations. Your power actually lies in your response, whether you believe it or not. Choose that long-term peace over short-term satisfaction. And I've learned this harder than anyone, but professional success requires emotional control, and so does anything else that you want to achieve. And if you have response strategies in your back pocket, this really helps. If you know in certain situations you get anxious, and in those turns you get a little bit more mean or passive aggressive, learn ways to respond in those situations. Document when it's gone positively and also when it's gone negatively. A lot of problems that we have is that we're not willing or vulnerable enough to reveal the truth about some of the things that we do. Self-awareness takes time, okay? But knowing yourself and knowing, like me, I'm Petty LaBelle, lets me know that in certain situations, I need to zip it and close it. I have no comment, or sometimes I have a very minimal comment to keep me from saying things that I know I shouldn't. And this leads us perfectly to actions compound over time. Small choices always become big results. Something that I learned a long time ago, and I'm glad I learned in my 20s, is that time passes you regardless. So you can spend this time doing something that's going to add to something later, or you can spend it doing nothing, especially like with weight loss and fitness, right? So you can spend this time saying how much you want to lose weight and not doing anything, and the time will still pass you by. Or you can spend this time investing in yourself, learning different ways for you to feel better and take better care of yourself. And the time will still pass you by. You choose how you want to spend it. Our habits actually shape our destiny. And consistency always beats intensity, baby. Today's decisions will directly affect tomorrow. It's not just a new day. Because I can guarantee you, if you don't pay your bills yesterday, them late notices coming the next day. Growth is definitely gradual, but it's also permanent. And when you invest in this, you invest in self-compounds. Think about ways that you can compound what you're doing, just like you want to compound interest in your new investment account. Make sure you're interest investing in yourself. Now, this next truth might hurt, but baby, work-life balance ain't real. Nope, absolutely not. It's about integration and not balance. I had to learn that in my 20s. Seasons of life are going to require different focus. Last year, 2024, I ain't do much posting content. I didn't work much. I didn't do a whole lot of things. You know why? Because I'm a wife and a new mama, okay? Now this year, I got my stride back, boo-boo. I'm back in that thing. However, I had to give my energy to what mattered the most at the time. So perfect balance, that's a myth. You have to create sustainable rhythms, systems that make sense for you in your life. You're going to prioritize what matters the most at the very time. And also learn to say no strategically. You can't say yes to everything. I'm going to tell y'all, last year I said no to almost everything. Every invite, every this, every that, speaking engagement, whatever it was. I said no. And I actually said no to a really big speaking engagement last year. But you know what? I don't regret it because life takes balance. And at that time, my family was the major priority. Now, speaking of real talk, don't waste your life on regret. Regret will steal your present joy. Every decision teaches you something. I don't care how detrimental it is. Use those past experiences as fuel to get you to where you want to go. Focus on what you learned through the situation. And I see this most in relationships. People talk about what they woulda, coulda, shoulda done, why they shouldn't have been with somebody. The thing is, sometimes, especially if you eventually got with the right person, a lot of times, that was just time filler in order for you to meet that right person. You probably wouldn't have met them earlier. Heck, you probably wouldn't have been ready for that person if you met them at the time you think you should have. But maybe that filler relationship that you was in that was so detrimental was for you to learn exactly what you do and do not do. I know that's how it was for me. I know y'all perfect and everything. You want to channel that regret into growth and know that tomorrow is a new opportunity. And once you stop regretting, ignore other people's expectations. Easier said than done, I know. But you have to learn to write your own story. Your parents, your family, your friends, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, whatever, whoever it is, guess what? You still got to live with you. Cultural pressure is not your guide. In this world today, people are pressuring each other to do all kinds of stuff. I know at one time it was getting married and having a baby and doing this and doing that. And sometimes I feel like it still is. But you best believe me making it all the way to 38 and not marrying, I do not regret. Oh my God, I lived my life, okay? And I'm still living. But you best believe it ain't nothing I want to go back to at all. Because I did me. Cultural expectations are one thing, and it did hit me hard. I'm going to tell you, in my 20s, I felt like I was so behind. But baby, I'm so happy life worked out the way that it did. It had to for me. That led me to trusting my intuition, which you have to do as well. You've lived with you all this time. Start acting like it. You have to break from convention when it's necessary and live authentically. And yeah, it's okay to have some shame sometimes, but shamelessness has also been a beast for my driving force in my life. And this freedom leads to being mindful of what you put in that body and your mind. You become what you consume. And I'm not just talking about food. Media affects our mindset. And that's why I don't even allow myself to watch news or even certain shows. You got to guard your mental space with your everything. Quality input equals quality output. In our environment, what we're around, what we choose to do and engage in, it all shapes our habits. So if you can't kick a nasty habit, you might want to look around at who's around you and what's around you supporting it. Choose positive influences and influencers. Sometimes the people you watching is pushing you to have a life that sucks. I'm just being real. I've had to go through media and diet transformations, right? Like media diets are important. Like I told y'all, there's certain things I don't allow to come into my spirit. Even me as a true crime lover, I used to sit up and watch ID channel all the time, watch all the true crime replays, but I had to stop that because sometimes I got a little bit morbid and it does feed into your soul. Even the music you consume, if you listen to certain music, you'll start to think that the things in that music apply to your life, baby. You'll be living it up. Do you hear me? Doing whatever just because you heard it on the radio or on your Spotify playlist. So you got to watch what you're consuming and taking in. And I'm also talking in terms of your food, but everything, make sure that you are giving yourself the purest form of what you can so you can be your best. And finally, money doesn't buy happiness. You know, financial security versus excess is an important strategy and an important thing to learn in life. Sometimes we think we want a whole bunch of something when we actually just want stability. And I've learned that experiences over possessions is much more important to me. The year before last, going to Africa while I was pregnant was priceless. I will always be able to tell my baby about that. In relationships and the time you spend with people, you can't get that back. You can make money back, but you can't get that time back. In relationships, even by research, create fulfillment, the right ones anyway. Your purpose will drive your satisfaction. And you want to balance your ambition with contentment. And I had a big problem with this. Like I said, I was always aiming and achieving something. And so a lot of times I got lost in the sauce. And I'm having to rewind and replay that message right now. Sometimes you can get so lost in trying to achieve things that you forget to enjoy the things you've achieved. Remember, again, spending that time, you can never get it back. So make sure you're investing in what truly matters for you. All right, family, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below in a gem with your truth that had you saying, I wish somebody told me this. Hit that like button and join the family by subscribing. And don't forget to check out my LTK shop. And thanks to BetterHelp, make sure you check them out, the sponsor of today's video. And until next time, keep growing, keep glowing. And remember, it's never too late to learn these lessons. I don't care how old you are. Beautiful brown baby doll. Peace.